There is a strange problem with Australia. The farther scientists look beneath its surrounding waters, the more they discover that the coastline we know today is only the latest version of a much older landscape. A lost ship, a massive reef, ancient stone tools beneath the sea. At first, these discoveries seem unrelated, but together they reveal something remarkable. Australia's oceans are not empty spaces. They are archives of history. In early 2025, survey equipment being used for an offshore wind farm project off eastern Victoria detected unusual shapes on the seabed. One turned out to be the wreck of the city of Hobart, an iron steamship that disappeared in Bass Strait in 1877. The ship had been carrying hundreds of tons of coal toward Melbourne when its propeller shaft failed. Water entered the hull, the crew abandoned the vessel, and the ship sank. Everyone aboard survived, but the exact location of the wreck was lost for nearly 150 years. Divers and historians had searched for it since 2008. Then modern geophysical surveys, conducted for an entirely different purpose, finally located it. The discovery shows how easily even well-documented history can disappear beneath the ocean. But Australia's hidden underwater world is not limited to shipwrecks. In October 2020, scientists aboard the Schmidt Ocean Institute research vessel, Falkor, were mapping the northern Great Barrier Reef. Using multi-beam sonar, they discovered something enormous, a blade-shaped reef rising roughly 500 meters above the surrounding seabed, with its shallowest point around 40 meters beneath the surface. This was not a tiny formation. It was a gigantic reef that had escaped detailed modern mapping for generations. The discovery became the first new detached reef mapped in the Great Barrier Reef in more than 120 years. The lesson was not that scientists know nothing about the Great Barrier Reef. Instead, it showed that even one of the world's most famous marine environments still contains features that modern technology has yet to fully reveal. But perhaps the most extraordinary discoveries are not things that fell into the ocean. They are things that were once on land. Off the coast of Western Australia lies the Dampier Archipelago, part of the cultural landscape of Murujuga. Today, much of this region is surrounded by seawater, but thousands of years ago, sea levels were lower, and the coastline extended much farther outward. People lived on that land. Researchers began reconstructing this ancient landscape to search for evidence of human activity now hidden beneath the waves. In 2019, divers at Cape Bruguieres Channel discovered 269 stone artifacts on the seabed, including tools and grinding implements. The site lies around 2.4 meters below modern sea level and is at least 7,000 years old. Another site at Flying Foam Passage contains evidence associated with a submerged freshwater spring about 14 meters below modern sea level, including an artifact dated to at least 8,500 years ago. These discoveries completely change how we think about Australia's underwater archaeology. The tools did not fall into the ocean. The ocean came later. Thousands of years ago, people walked across landscapes that are now underwater. They collected fresh water, prepared food, and made tools there. As sea levels rose after the last ice age, the coastline gradually moved inland, covering parts of their world. Their homes and workplaces became seabed. For a long time, archaeology naturally focused on land because that was where evidence was easiest to find. But Australia's modern shoreline can be misleading. The coastline has never been permanent. Ancient rivers, islands, and shorelines existed in places that are underwater today. That means the ocean may contain an enormous archaeological record that we have barely begun to explore. Finding those sites is difficult. Unlike a large shipwreck or a 500-meter reef, ancient tools can be small, buried beneath sediment, moved by currents, or covered by marine growth. Yet the first discoveries have already proved that ancient human activity can survive underwater as physical evidence. The same principle applies to shipwrecks. Australia has an enormous coastline and a long maritime history. Many vessels disappeared because of storms, mechanical failures, collisions, and navigation errors. Some have been found. Others may still be waiting beneath the seabed. And often, discovery begins with someone searching for something else. The city of Hobart was found during an offshore wind farm survey. The giant reef was discovered during scientific mapping. The submerged Aboriginal sites were found by researchers deliberately reconstructing ancient landscapes. Different missions, but the same result. The map gets larger. Not geographically, but informationally. Technology is allowing scientists to see parts of the ocean that earlier generations simply could not examine in enough detail. A shipwreck can emerge from sonar data. A hidden reef can suddenly appear in 3 dimensions. An ancient landscape can be reconstructed from geological evidence. And stone tools can reveal that people once lived where the sea now stretches. The city of Hobart, the giant reef, and the Murujuga artifacts represent 3 different kinds of hidden history. One was lost, one was overlooked, and one was submerged by a changing world. Yet all 3 were waiting below the surface. They remind us of something surprisingly simple. Just because something important exists does not mean we already know it is there. Australia's coastline is therefore incomplete without its underwater past. The map above the water tells one story. The map beneath it tells another, and sometimes that second story is thousands of years older. Somewhere beneath Australia's surrounding seas, more shipwrecks, geological structures, and ancient landscapes are almost certainly waiting to be discovered. The next discovery could be enormous, or it could be something small enough to fit in your hand. But now we know where to look. The ocean around Australia is not an empty boundary between land and sea. It is a buried archive, and much of its story may still be waiting to be uncovered. What makes these discoveries even more fascinating is that they are not isolated accidents. Each one suggests that the seafloor may contain countless fragments of Australia's past that remain invisible to us. As mapping technology improves, scientists may uncover ancient coastlines, forgotten settlements, shipwrecks, and geological formations that could completely reshape our understanding of how Australia's landscape changed over time. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not what lies beneath Australia's waters, but what those discoveries will eventually teach us. Every new survey can reveal another piece of the past, connecting ancient landscapes with modern coastlines. The deeper scientists look, the clearer it becomes that Australia's history extends far beyond the shoreline we see today. As researchers continue exploring these underwater landscapes, the boundaries between archaeology, geology, and maritime history begin to disappear. A single discovery can connect human stories with ancient environmental changes, showing how closely people have always depended on the land around them. Beneath Australia's waters, forgotten chapters of that relationship may still remain preserved.